Hi everyone, I am doing these sets of videos for a lot of women and men out there. I've just decided rather than just starting writing about it and creating these ebooks, I will back it up with a few recordings. This mainly is in relation to the topic of relationships, addictions, and obsessive behaviors and tendencies. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a lawyer and a mediator, specifically accredited as a family dispute resolution practitioner. I've worked with a lot of clients from a PTSD background, mental health background, and traumatic background. So over the past 4 years, I've had a lot of help through this book besides my practice. Now, for those of you who may be familiar, this addiction that I'm specifically looking into, a lot of women experience, specifically, and I'm just speaking for women because I'm a woman. It's addiction to love and codependency in relationships. Now, and I'll just briefly preface, I used to probably 6 years ago, before my spiritual awakening, did not enjoy my own company. More so, I would be on my own, but I'd exhibit a lot of tendencies and wanting that feeling to escape and run away from being alone. I would use substances. I would just keep myself busy, workaholism, keep myself occupied, and what have you. And I kept myself really busy and obsessed with relationships. Now, a lot of that kept me running away from my feelings and escaping who I really am. Just to cut a long story short, because I don't want to make these videos about me, I actually want to give you a little bit of service and value for yourself. This, you might be familiar with tendencies known as codependency. A codependent is someone who always feels the need to be around other people, who bases their self-worth, their self-esteem on other people, perceptions, and other relationships. Now, this book by Susan Peabody is a book that I highly recommend for those of you who would like to learn more about how to deal with love addiction. It's a really good book because Susan herself went through the process, and she's still in a 12-step program of recovery, which has supported her recovery from love addiction. Why I found this book very useful is because she kept the term broad. Love addiction can manifest in obsessive behaviors around men, or say you're in a current relationship where it's the prototype of an abusive, controlling, coercive relationship. A lot of women tend to go back into that cycle, not so much because of the other man, but it's because of the issues and the limiting beliefs that are going on internally. So I think this book is very important to help you as a woman experience a lot of liberation, and also it just gives you a little bit of tools to equip you with how to feel confident on your own and how to escape unhealthy relationships and really be very strong in your core and work on yourself, which I have been doing for the past 6 years. Now, just to keep this short for the purpose of this first recording, I will outline how exactly she describes codependency. So she mainly uses this broader term, as I said, love addiction. They're usually people who are very occupied with romance, relationships, or another person. They are addicted to the idea of being in a relationship, and they constantly obsess about relationships. You exhibit tendencies of fantasizing about the other person, and you're constantly preoccupied with thoughts about another man or a Romeo-Juliet relationship or something like that. And Susan goes through and also explains how codependency and love addiction can be manifested in addiction to parents, children, siblings, and friendships as well. So that would be a good read to go through. a lot of it, from what I've seen, is where a lot of women obsess about an unavailable person, a man who's emotionally unavailable, and usually stems from like past reminders of whether it's her first love or beliefs about love looking for a happy ending, excitement, or usually a little bit of unconscious fear of intimacy. And that's an important component, because as a love addict, you'd think, oh, okay, you want to be around people all the time, and then you tend to divulge your intimate affairs. But it's actually also known as an obsessive tendency, where you have an unconscious fear, an underlying fear of intimacy. And underlying that is, you as a woman tend to choose to fall in love with someone who's unavailable. Yeah. So I won't go through all of this, I'll save it for later, but just for the purpose of this video. Serenity prayer. And I've been using the prayer myself for a long time now. And basically, for those of you who are not familiar, the prayer goes as such: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. What this serenity prayer does, whether you believe in God or not, whether you believe in a higher power, a higher source or not, choose it or use it to your understanding of how you define a God. But essentially what this prayer does is help you understand that we cannot control and change people, places, and things. And we ask our higher power to help us, are you getting me? To help us have the serenity to accept things that we cannot change. So we can't ask to change people's behaviors. I can't ask my partner to fix that thing about him that really bothers me. No, this job in the love addiction is your work. You need to work on yourself. And an example, just as one of the tools, is saying that prayer, because it's a good reminder that, hey, we are who we are, people who are who they are. All you can do is work on yourself, and you really can't ask men or other women to change their behaviors. I'm just going to cut it short because it looks like I'm on the 8-minute mark. So, I'll leave you all with now. I wish you a fabulous day. Mwah.